Okay, so I just thought it would be really fun way to start things off by talking about all the different types of sales that we can do. One of my favorite things about being an Usborne consultant is that like there's a million different ways that you can be selling. It's not just, oh, you have to do a home party or oh, you have to do an online party. We have tons and tons of ways. Really, it's basically how creative can you be, because I've seen some people doing some pretty amazing things. So I'll start off. My list is like chicken scratch that I made the other day at my mom's house. And so it's in no particular order. Um, it's just is how it came out of my head. That's what the order is here. So the first thing on my list is Facebook parties. I live out in the middle of nowhere in southern Saskatchewan, so Facebook parties when I signed up was my only outlet. That was the only way that I knew that I would be able to do anything, because my local resources were just too small to actually make anything huge out of it. So I used Facebook parties a lot. We can party anywhere in the whole country, so we might as well use that ability. Raylin just did like a 3-4 day mock party training. That's typically how we've kind of done our parties in the past, but I know that some of the supervisors right now are kind of working on a new template that's going to be more like a live party, where it has a couple days of just some pre-posts and then just like a live 40 or 60-minute actual party where you can make like actually do a live video and show books. So those are the two ways of doing the Facebook parties. Another kind of side option to a Facebook party is to do like a mystery hostess party. So it's essentially it's a Facebook party, but you don't know who's going to win all of the hostess awards. So what I've done in the past is just people get an entry into the prize draw for like every $25 they spend or something like that, just to get the entries in. And I've had some pretty good mystery hostess parties because some people are excited to only have to spend $25 or $50 to maybe win all of the hostess rewards. So I'd encourage you to do that if you've never done one of those. And I'm happy to invite you to the last one that I did if you want to peek at it. I think the number one most important thing for everybody to know is that our ordering system only holds our orders for 5 days. So you never want to have a party that goes longer than that because you can't guarantee that the books are going to stay in stock. So what I always do is as soon as I get my first order from a party, I open the order, and then I know for sure that my party's ending within the 5 days. So there's no chance that the book's going to go out of stock. So as soon as those orders start coming in, open the order and put those books on hold so that you don't lose them. So the other thing for parties, like I mentioned before, is home parties. Like I said, I live out in the sticks. Home parties are not for me. Nobody wants to drive miles and miles and miles to go to a home party. And so the only time I've ever actually done a home party was for my launch party, which was almost 3 years ago. My sister agreed to be the hostess of my launch party. So we had it actually at my mom's house because she lived in town. So she invited a bunch of people over to my mom's house, and we had my launch party that way, and it did work out really great. But so I have zero experience with home parties. So I don't know if Jocelyn or Raylin or anybody here that does home parties wants to jump in and tell how they do it.
I can talk a little bit about home parties. I personally prefer home parties because I work full time. So I find the 3-day Facebook parties really difficult to manage with my schedule. So I prefer to do home parties just because then I can book off a day or an afternoon, few hours, and all my focus goes into it. And it's kind of, for me, I find it quicker. With my home parties, I really just, with any party, the hostess coaching is really important. Home parties, I feel like it's even more important in a way because you have kind of one shot to get your people there. You can't really have them trickling in throughout the party. So definitely important to make sure that your hostess is contacting people and inviting them. And then I try to just bring as many books as I can to show, because I find that the books really sell themselves once people can touch them and feel them and really, see them in person. It helps a lot for sales. And then a few different things that I've done in the past are, if you are low on stock, One idea is you can fill a YouTube channel with different Usborne videos and have them playing on a laptop or on somebody's home TV. So that's something, if you don't have your kit yet, or if you get your kit but that's all you have for Usborne books, that's a good resource that you can use during a party. And yeah, use it as an opportunity to kind of explain why you signed up, and you know, why you love the books, and then just show them off and help people as best you can. Especially when you're first starting, people understand that you may not know all the stock and all the products yet. So just ask them to be patient and contact your sponsor or your supervisor, or post on one of the pages if you have questions. And customers are generally really understanding about that. So yeah.
One thing I'd like to mention to you. Oh, sorry, Jocelyn, go ahead.
No, go ahead. No, go ahead.
One thing that I also would like to mention is that with other products that you do, you typically, you know, are like, don't bring your kids, but that's often a deterrent for a lot of moms to go to a party because they can't find childcare. Well, ta-da, we sell children's books, so bring your kids. I have people at home parties bring their kids all the time. It makes for absolute chaos, but it also makes for amazing sales because you've got all of the little ones there looking through the books being like, Mom, I want this one, I want this one. And I know I recently had a friend who bought the knitting kit for her 8-year-old son simply because he was there. She would never have purchased that for him on her own, but because he was there, he decided he wanted to take up knitting. So if you have a host who's like, oh, I don't know if this will work, my friends all have kids, well, bring them along. It makes it so much fun.
Yeah, that's awesome. Super good tip. So yeah, like they said too, just don't be afraid. Everybody realizes that you're new if you're just doing it for the first time. So just kind of go with it and try not to worry about doing anything wrong, because you'll just learn to do it. The other kind of variation of a home party that I've actually done was a birthday party. And it was kind of weird because the mom had asked me if I would do a birthday party for her daughter who was turning 6. And I just assumed that it was an online party because she was sending me her wish list. And I don't know, I made graphics for it and I thought it was online. And then she messaged me like the day before and she's like, so what time are you going to be here? And I was like, oh, okay. Well, I had no idea that I was going to her house. And I don't know, I thought it was kind of weird because in my mind, I thought, okay, well, we're doing like this book party and the parents are going to buy books, but they won't be buying the kid gift. But no, she didn't even tell anybody I was going to be there. So it was like, really, it was like, oh, I'm setting up books at this kid's birthday party. And I mean, it was a success. Everybody bought books because it was probably too awkward not to, because you're sitting there. And the mom was like, oh, and like the daughter got all the hostess rewards and she has this wish list. So the mom was kind of weirdly pushy about it. But I did do recently an online birthday party for a little girl who was 2. The mom wanted to have like a birthday party instead of an actual birthday party. So we did like the online one, and I created a wish list and I ran it just like any other regular Facebook party, except for I tailored a lot of the graphics, like with the little girl's picture and all of the books that she wanted. So I felt like that worked out a little bit better, but the home party could have been a lot better, I think, maybe if me and the mom were a little bit more on par with what we were doing. So the next one on my list is trade shows, which is one of my favorite things. I love doing trade shows. I actually, when I signed up to be a consultant, I had already booked my first trade show. So I jumped in right away, put in a stock order, and I was ready for it. And then it got canceled. So life happens, and I had all those books, and so I just kept booking more and more and more shows. So basically at a trade show, people are coming with the expectation that they're going to buy off your table and take it with them. I've never taken orders at a trade show. Well, I shouldn't say that. Sometimes people will come and they will want something and I will order it for them if I don't have it. But typically people just want to take it with them. So I know some people have done shows without stock and only taken orders, and I know that they've had success with it. So it's totally what you want, but I think financially wise, it's more beneficial to actually have stock there to sell. I pre-price all of my books with just the retail value, and then I add on GST when they pay.
Again, that's something other people will put the price with the tax in. It's however you want to do it. That's the nice thing about this business. You do what works for you and what you feel comfortable with. If you don't want to have to be worrying about how much price is going to be with tax, you can just price it with the tax in. One thing that I would definitely recommend is get Square. If you're on my team, you would have gotten an email with some information about what Square is at the very bottom, telling you, like, if you were my direct sign up, I gave you my Square link. If you were just a sign up on my team, I would tell you to ask your sponsor for it. Square is amazing. It gives you the ability to take credit card payments or debit. Like, I have a tap machine. You can take credit card or debit right there, and it's huge. I think one event I took actually $800 in sales just off my tap machine. So sometimes it'll make or break a deal. I know when I first signed up, my very first trade show ever, some lady came and she wanted to write me a check. And I was like, I don't know about this. I was in a city where you don't know anybody. You have no idea if the check's going to bounce, if they're just walking away with your books, and it's such a risk. So I didn't want to ever have to worry about that ever again. So I got Square, and it's been amazing. So if you don't have it, make sure you ask your sponsor or your supervisor, and they will get you a link so you can get the free referral fee or referral code. Then you get $1,000 worth of free transactions. I've never ever paid a fee ever. So it's just something to look into. The other thing that has worked good for me is book clubs. Now, I know that there's lots of us in this chat right now that do book clubs, and we maybe do them a little bit differently. One of the main ways that I've done it is that I've done like a 10-month book club starting in February and ending in November. So it was a hostess of the month club. So I had 10 ladies who signed up. As they signed up, they picked what month they wanted to be theirs. And then that month they got all the hostess rewards for the party. So it was a minimum $20 a month that they had to order. That was before tax and before shipping. So the $20 a month times the 10 people made the $200 party. So the hostess also always had the opportunity, if she wanted to have like a Facebook party or a home party on the side, to bump up her sales. We could do that, but it was not necessary because they would be getting the hostess rewards anyway. And then I kind of did draws for the customer specials, and I'd give the hostess a free book, or I just do like a draw. It was really fun. I feel like I've kind of tapped out from the last 2 years of doing that, just because locally I just don't have that many people who are wanting to be in a 10-month book club for that many years in a row. So I've switched it up. I actually just finished working on my graphic tonight, and I'm going to launch a 3-month book club. So it's going to be February, March, April. So instead of the $20 a month, it's going to be $35 a month for the 3 months, or they can pay up front $100 and then they're saving the $5. So with that, they won't choose the books like they did with the hostess of the month club. They got to pick their own books for that one. And this one, it's going to be more like a surprise. So I will just pick books based on the age and the interests of the kids that they tell me that they're shopping for. Does anybody else want to jump in and talk about how they do theirs?
I did mine as a 6-month one. I think it really just depends on how many people you have in your club and how many and what they're willing to pay.
Yeah, totally.
6 people, and they all paid $40 a month. And then one month was their off month. So that was their host month where they were getting all the host rewards. So I think it just is, if you're thinking, 10 months is too long or 3 months is too short or whatever, you can do it for as long or as short as you want. You just have to make the dollar amount add up to that minimum party, which is $200 in sales, is really what you're trying to get it at. And because Val has like a ton of stuff that she's going over tonight, if you're really interested in looking at book clubs, go to our YouTube training link, because we have an amazing training all about book clubs from Sharon Zach, who is like the book club guru. And she has a really, really good training in there. So if that's something that you're interested in, then I would for sure take a peek at that.
Yeah. Yep. Good call. Okay.
So the next thing on my list was just a fun promotion that we did one month. It was called the Top 12. So Raylyn and I just kind of we brainstormed what our favorite 12 Usborne books were, and we just made up some fun graphics, which you can find in the album in my group. It's just called Top 12, and all they had to do, all the consultants had to do really was just take these graphics and then post them on their pages and hope that people thought that any of these 12 books were amazing, because they were amazing. Sometimes taking the pressure out of checking out the entire catalog with thousands of books in it makes it so much easier. So if you're just putting 12 amazing books in front of people, it's a lot easier to sell them. If you have the books, making a video showing the books can really, really help. And you can, of course, if somebody really likes the series that you're showing, make alternatives. I mean, if they don't want That's Not My Puppy, sell them That's Not My Cat. Like, it doesn't really matter. But I did like the Top 12. I think I'm going to probably try to do that one again soon. Jocelyn, I'm going to make you talk next about your coloring nights.
Yeah, okay. So yeah, I've done a couple of coloring nights in the past too, and they're a lot of fun. So we have a line of adult coloring books in the catalog. And so what I've done in the past is contacted a local business. In my case, I used a tea shop, but I know other people have used bars or lounges or coffee shops or all different places. You could do a town hall anywhere. But contact the owner of the location, see if they would mind partnering with you. And in the case of mine, what I did was I sold my tickets in advance. They were $20 a piece. That included basically a $10 worth of a book. So most of the coloring books are $8.95, $9.95. So that included one of those. And the other $10 was made up of beverages or snacks, that sort of thing. And if you have any room rental, you could factor that into the extra as well. So you can price it at whatever you want. But I did mine at $20, and it was a full evening worth of entertainment. I provided crayons, like pencil crayons, bought a couple boxes of wine, and everyone came and colored, and it was a lot of fun. So it was kind of like a ladies' night, mom's night out. Variations on it though, you could do like mother-child coloring nights or sticker afternoons or anything like that. So it's nice because by selling the advance tickets, you know exactly what you need to order. I had done up a graphic with like 4 to 6, depending on the event, different books as options. They got to pick their book in advance, and I placed the order, made sure it had a couple weeks of shipping, and we had a really good time. It was fun. So again, I like those events where you can kind of go put in a few hours all at once and be done. So those are great for that type of thing. So
Amanda Lowe, are you in here? Because maybe you want to talk about yours if you do it any differently than that. I know Amanda does lots of these coloring wine nights too. I think moms just like having that excuse to get out. And if it's coloring, if it's stickers, it's just something kind of mindless where you can just sit with your friends in quiet and just have a drink if you want to, just kind of sit there in peace.
I've been thinking that the magic painting books could be fun too. Like paint nights are a big thing. So that could be another variation on it. Because I know I kind of hijacked my kids' painting books myself. So yeah, there's lots of different ways you can do it, but it kind of makes a nice like girls' night, and it changes up your demographic. So instead of always pushing to the moms, you can attract some people who are maybe just single ladies who don't have kids. It's a new customer for the book. So something different.
Yeah, that's awesome. The next thing on my list that I have is library story hours. I've done a couple of these just in my local little town library where I did like a pre-registration. And so people signed up and they paid $15. And with that, they got to come in we did a couple stories, we did a craft, we did a snack, and then they got to go home with a copy of the book that we were reading. So you would have to pre-register so that you know how many people are coming. I did $15 for the first kid and then just an extra $5
for any additional kids that were coming in the family. So then they just went home with the one book. And then any of the extra money, we just donated to the library. So for me, it wasn't really a big money maker. It was more of just me getting out into the community and sharing the books with people. But you could do it like if you want to make a profit off it, I'm sure that you could figure out a way to do that. Just make sure that you're getting the money ahead of time if you're going to be ordering all the books, because you don't want to be out for people who decide not to come. If something happens that they don't show up, you can still you can just make sure that they understand that they're forfeiting their money back. They just will get the book in the end. So you can also sell books to libraries. Librarians love our books. Our books really hold up well. So approach your local librarian. See, lots of them have money in the budget at the start of the year, or even at the end of the year, that they have money left over that they have to use up before a certain deadline. So take them your catalog, because why not? It's worth a try. Anyways, I sell to a few different libraries, and they're always repeat customers. They always know that they like the quality of our books because they really hold up coming in and out. So yeah, definitely contact your library. The next thing on my list is book raisers. This is something that I've not really done a whole lot of myself either. A book raiser is essentially a fundraiser for books. So you can do it for just an individual family who's in need. You could do it for an organization or a preschool or a daycare, anywhere that really needs books or could benefit from the books. You really just run it like a party. You could do it online. You could go in and do it, set up a display. Basically, people will buy books, and they can either buy books to donate right to the organization, or they can buy books for themselves, and then the organization is benefiting from the book credit. So the only thing I would say on that is to make sure that you, one of the first things you say, like if you're going to approach a preschool or a daycare, make sure the first thing that you ask them is if they're already in contact with another Usborne consultant, because you don't want, like, we've had an instance in the past where one daycare was actually contacted by multiple consultants all within like a few days of each other, which, I mean, it's exciting, but it's kind of also a turnoff, because then they're just kind of getting bombarded with a bunch of consultants. So just make sure that you ask them if they're already being serviced by somebody else. And if they're not, then great, go for it. Does anybody here that's done a book raiser want to talk more about one? We do also have a training just on book raisers in the training channel.
Well,
Okay.
like I can just jump in quick, because there are a couple different ways. You can do it either, like you can listen to the full training, but you can do it just like a party, like Val said. But you can also, what I'm doing right now is a NICU book raiser. I do this every year for our NICU on Valentine's Day. And I just get a bunch of amazing 31 bags, and I fill them with baby books. And then on Valentine's Day, I go and fill all the beds with one of those. So the way I do that is I sell bundles, really. So it's $30 for this book bag, and people can sponsor it. So then I have a bunch of people just giving me $30 right up front, and then I'm in charge of all of the books and organizing it all. But it's a much easier way to get books to an organization without having to run an actual party. So that's another option too.
So do the people who are sponsoring it, do they like write a little note, or do you put a note like, this is sponsored by so-and-so?
I don't put it who it's sponsored by, but I do have a little note that I put in there just explaining who I am, and that this bag has been sponsored by someone who is thinking of them.
Oh, I love that. What a feel-good moment that must be, dropping those off. That's
Totally is.
Yeah, that's how I feel when I work with schools. I do lots of readathons. And so when I'm going in and dropping off all the books for the teachers or for the students, it just feels so amazing. So to work with a school, you do have to be certified with Usborne as an educational specialist, which is really quite easy. You just talk to your supervisor about getting trained. It's very easy. It's basically, you have to have a minimum of 200 books in your personal stock that are appropriate for school-age children, and you need to have $1,000 in sales under your belt, basically because the company wants to know that you have some product knowledge and you know how to use the ordering system. So they don't want people who just signed up today to go hit up every school they can find tomorrow. You have to have an idea what you're talking about, because if you don't, you're going to turn the school off from not only you, but for any other consultant that approaches them in the future. So just make sure that you're super professional. We have all the training necessary for that. So if working with a school is something that you want to do, just make sure you reach out to your supervisor and we'll help you. So there's 3 different ways that you can work with the school. The first way is simply selling them books. The library or the staff will just buy books from you. The second way is book fairs. So everybody probably is familiar with like a Scholastic book fair. It's kind of like that, except librarians like us better because we do all the work. Scholastics, they just dump off a bunch of books and leave. Usborne consultants come in and do all of the work. And then the last way is to do readathons, which my thing is telling me we only have 10 minutes left, so I can't go into super lots of details, but basically what a readathon is that you go in and you get the kids all super excited about reading, and they go off with their packages and they collect pledges, kind of like with Terry Fox where they're collecting pledges, except all the money comes back to the school and they get to spend half of the money on books for themselves to take home, and then the school gets the other half. So it's such a huge win-win. All of the money is going back into books. And so it's just a really amazing feeling to be able to provide the school with all of these amazing free books that they would never have the budget for. And it just feels good because the kids are super excited. I have an entire training on readathons that you should definitely watch if you're interested in it. The other thing to quickly talk about is lots of people are having a lot of success selling in hospitals. So Becky Winkleman did a training for our team, which is also in our YouTube channel, about setting up in hospitals. She basically does it kind of like a trade show, except it's just her. So there's a vendor program usually at most of the hospitals that she works with. She has an agreement with them that she's willing to give up, I don't know if it's 10% of her sales, or she might pay them $100 or $50 or whatever it is, to just basically rent a space in the hospital once a week or once a month or whatever she chooses. And then she just sets up her books, and patients and staff and visitors, everybody will just come by her stand and buy books for themselves or for their children or for patients that they're going to visit. So Becky is like the person with the top sales in the entire company. I think her sales last year were about 75,000, and she does book fairs and hospitals, and that's it. So it's clearly working for her, and I feel like there's hospitals everywhere. So I mean, it's worth a shot to just message or just contact them and see if you can get in to give it a try. The next thing on my list is just creating bundles. Sometimes people are happier to just buy a bundle of books rather than have to sort through the whole catalog and find things. So if you can create little packages for people to look through, it does make selling easier. I have bundles in my group. There's ones that have GST in them already, and then there's the HST ones. So just depending on what province you're in, just make sure that you're looking at the right bundle album. And we do try to keep them updated with price increases and stuff like that. So, but you just might want to check them before you start advertising. Baby showers are a really great thing that you can be doing. We call them book showers, but it's a baby shower, but I've done all mine online. So basically the mom-to-be makes a wish list of all the books that she'd like for her new baby, and people can either buy the books for the baby as a gift for the baby shower, or they can just buy books for themselves, and the mom-to-be benefits from all the hostess rewards. So it's super fun. Again, I run it just like any other party. I would just tailor all the graphics, and I have like baby shower type games and stuff. If you want to do one, I think I did a mock baby shower training, so it's still in the group. I can just add you to it for you to look at. Mystery bags is something that are really cool. My sister does it with Pink Zebra, where she just she pre-sells $35 bags, and people pick a number, and she usually sells like 8 or something like that. So people will pick a number when they buy it, and then she goes live and she like opens one bag at a time, and the person can either keep the bag or switch it out for like whatever's like the original thing on the table. So they can take that bag or switch it out. I haven't really put a lot of thought into how I would do this with Usborne books, but I thought that it was a really fun thing. She goes live in her group, and she usually gets like all sorts of random people joining and just wanting to buy a bag like right on the spot, because it's fun and exciting and what's going to be in the next bag. And so it's pretty cool. And I think that we could have a lot of fun with it with books too. So that's on my to-do list. Surprise packs is something I've always had a lot of success with. Again, people sometimes are super overwhelmed with their catalog. So if you're just offering that they can buy a $10 or $15 or $20 or $25, like they pick the price and you pick the books and you just surprise them. I often will do it like it's surprise pack time kind of thing. And if I can sell like $200 worth, then I'll do a prize draw for something. I just say anybody who buys a surprise bag will get their name entered in for whatever the prize is going to be. And people just love the surprise, and they like the chance that they can spend $20 or $10 and get entered in for another giveaway. So that works good for me. Some people, I don't know if there's anybody in here, I don't know if Sam's here, but some people do like a daily deal group. So they have a group specifically set up for their customers to go to, where they post a different book every day, and they just showcase that book. And then if somebody wants to buy that book, they just kind of put in one bulk order after, like, I want to say that they're doing it every 2 weeks, which you have to kind of be careful about books coming in out of stock. But I know that you can put the book on hold, and then after 5 days, if you need to keep it, you just kind of you release it from that order and then put it into the next order. So there is a way to make it draw out a little longer if you want to, but it is a risk because you could lose it. Sometimes there's people who will try to transfer a book over from one order to the next and lose it, and that always sucks. So I don't recommend that if you can avoid it. I think that's it. I think I went through all of the stuff on my paper. Does anybody else have any ideas that they want to share? We only have 3 minutes before we're going to cut off. And then I don't know if we should start another Zoom so people can ask questions if they want to. I haven't been following the chat either. Does anybody want to say anything? Christina, you do not need any qualifications to sell to a library, just a school. If the library is in a school, then no, you can't go to it. And there is no PST on books, Amy. And tax is based on the seller's location. Yeah. When you're doing an order, if you're doing a party order, the tax is based on wherever the books are being shipped. So if your hostess is in Alberta and she has people out in Ontario that are ordering, those Ontario people, they don't have to pay the HST, because it's always just based on the address that the hostess is having the rest of the order shipped to. Emily, you can find the YouTube channel link in the files. I don't know. I'm sorry, your name isn't familiar to me, so I don't know if you're in my group, but I assume that all of the supervisors have the training YouTube channel in their own group. And I'm sorry, I don't remember what the tax is in Newfoundland. Does anybody know? Oh, Raylan already answered it.
Yeah, it's just HST now. They used to have a different one, but it's now streamlined across all HST provinces.
Yeah, perfect. And then there's one more question. Somebody said, can you do like 2 books for a certain amount or regular price for each? You can't discount books regularly. Like if there's a book that's $10.95, you can't sell it for $10, but you can bundle it up with another, like that. You can't advertise it for cheaper than what it is, but you can bundle it up and make it cheaper. Why? I don't know, but you can do it that way. If you want to just bundle it up to make one price, it is fine to do it like that.